Today, the borders have pharaohs emerging from the underground world and people descending into the world of resurrection and immortality. There's a world that wants to take over both worlds, and secrets about Egypt and the ancient Egyptians that no one at all knows, and they promise to reveal them in the next episode. Long ago, in the time of the pharaohs, there's a chariot race with Moses' chariots, and our hero Thoth is competing. Two people plot against him and loosen his chariot wheel. Thankfully, he still wins the race. He can't even celebrate because his mother slaps him, causing him to pass out. Then the story jumps to the present day, and we see the archaeologist Sylvester S. Noni. Hey, don't blame me for the name. Sylvester was exploring a pharaonic tomb. Of course, where else would you find pharaohs? In a Greek tomb or something? Anyway, the important thing is that Dr. Sylvester talks about ancient Egypt and how it's a treasure trove of antiquities, and that almost no one has discovered its artifacts, nor will anyone ever discover them all. I start thinking to myself, like, after 1,000 years, what will our grandchildren find as our artifacts? Anyway, it doesn't matter. And what will fill the world then? The important thing is that Abu al-Sahaba, which is the new administrative capital. Abu al-Sahaba is important. The tomb the scientist stands before and opens is revealed to be a queen's, Nefertiti, and we'll shorten her name to Nefar, so instead of Nefertiti, we'll say Nefar. Anyway, when they open the tomb, it's not Nefertiti. My dear, watch me and understand me well while you're under the tomb. Eternal life and something hidden in seeking God's forgiveness. And stupidity. I mean, during Ramadan? During Ramadan, we watch an insect crawl through a hole and emerge elsewhere. Wait, is that a whole new world? Sorry, Uncle Sylvester, I think we're lost. Let's see what happens. This world resembles ours, but has an ancient Egyptian vibe. Chariots replace cars, people dress like mummies and carve on stone. And then we see a papyrus shop, which is owned by the famous retired racer, our guy Thoth. He was sitting there signing autographs for fans, and everyone in town is just simping for him. And they all want to take a selfie with him, yeah. They sit next to him with their friends, hold up a mirror, and draw what they see in the mirror. That's their version of a selfie. Anyway, they just hang out with their friends after that. They ask awkward questions like, why are you disabled? Why aren't you married? Why don't you have this or that? But he tells them, honestly, I retired to give others a chance. And as for marriage, marriage lasts forever. As mummies, we live forever, so this isn't for me. I'm uncomfortable and don't know why. I just feel off. Let's not worry about friends after that. After everyone leaves, Thoth collects the goods and notices his brother Sekum watching him draw on the wall. Sekum wants him to race again after seeing his fans' reactions. But when Thoth sees the drawing, he focuses on the wheel, gets scared remembering something, and refuses, saying no and not wanting to discuss it. We don't know what happened, pretty much. They turned out to be good Thoth. Safu is working, and what matters are Thoth's friends. After leaving the market with tomatoes, he helps the old lady cross the street. He was about to run her over, but the girl braked and jumped onto the hood. Since she was almost hit, it was considered her fault. Dear viewers, before you go down and insult me with a 3-letter word, that's the point. And when you're not paying attention, what can I say to you? So what? Are you serious, man, or what? This can't work. It looks like magic. You're not paying attention. Should I make you another cup? And the lucky one. His mother must be proud. And I don't even need to tell you. As soon as the girl bumps into the hero, that's the crush, the dream girl, and all that stuff. With friends, you just say a few words, like telling him to watch the road or pull himself together. Usually the bag he carries is groceries, so he hands it to her and leaves. Now, back to the girl. She's actually a princess, just as you expected. Nefertiti, or Nefar, started her story in the first movie. Most importantly, she often sings with friends. She's tired of eternal life, waking up to the same thing for thousands of years, and just wants something new. This routine is wearing her down, my friend. Uncle Gorov says, Queen of Love, Athauer, today you'll get a companion truly worthy of you. Her father lets her cry, then says, make a wish, dear, and see what happens. During the marriage season, Athauer's phoenix comes out to choose the groom, Nefar. At that time, Sekum is playing with a flying disc and throws it into the sky, and the phoenix swallows it. And it chokes, can you imagine? The phoenix chokes, and right then, the bird falls onto a house. Here, Thoth, the pharaoh's soldiers arrive and take Thoth from his mother's lap to the pharaoh. The pharaoh says to him, look, my son, the phoenix bird. He chose you to marry my daughter right now, here in front of everyone, if you recall. Thoth didn't want to marry and opposed the idea, but they warned him not to defy the king. Hathor, we'll cut off your tongue. Where did your blood go, man? He told him. We'll cut off your tongue. We'll cut off your tongue. You're too wild. And we'll gouge out both your eyes. At that moment, he told them, Hathor, love is blind, but not to that extent, guys. Fine, I'll get married. I love marriage. Later, we see that the two of them can't stand each other at all, and that both of them were forced on each other, as it shows later. He must keep the ring safe until the wedding, or he'll face the same punishment if he loses it. The punishment for cutting out the tongue and gouging the eyes. He secretly hides it with his marriage certificate, and as he closes the storage room door, a robot controlled by the scientist emerges from the wall, Sylvester Estinoni, and at that moment his mother starts yelling at him. Like, this is not the time? Seriously, is this really the time? He leaves the duplication device with his goofy assistants, who immediately fight over control of the robot. Why does being in charge even matter right now? The robot danced in the warehouse, knocking things over, including the ring. Professor Sylvester then finds and takes it. The kid's future is at stake, and you're just goofing off. Abu al-Sahab, must I keep reminding you to have good intentions? I'm not talking to Sylvester. Did I say I was? You wanted key scenes, right? Well, Sylvester grabs the ring and some other prizes too. The robot can't exit the opening with all that stuff, so the clever kid uses trinitrotoluene to blow up the warehouse with everything inside. Tahout and Sekhem hear the explosion and rush over. At that moment, Tahout, he desperately wished the ground would swallow him, knowing he'd be in trouble if he didn't find the ring. Then he spotted the opening in the warehouse wall. He realizes those filthy humans did it, and his only option is to enter the world of the living and return the ring himself. He won't let Sekhem come, since he's his younger brother, and it's too dangerous. He said, Q, let me come with you for God's sake. The reply was, if you insist, I'll tell the guards and have your tongue cut out, which displeases God. After that, Thoth, Sekhem, and their animals successfully go to the world of the living. At that moment, they're amazed by the sight of the pyramids and the stars, but honestly, they were already confused and wondering where Husina went. Guys, what's going on? After that, the ring is in Sylvester's hand as he looks at the artifacts and sends them, like her siblings, to London. Of course, as we all know, all our artifacts, God bless, end up in London. Can I ask you a question, my friend? And what's the answer to it? Do you know why the 3 pyramids are still standing to this day, and nothing has happened to them? Of course, my friend, you couldn't answer. Try for yourself, because they're too heavy to be moved to a museum in London. At the storage room, they hear someone approaching and prepare to attack. But it's actually Princess Nefar, who is shocked. She finds an opening to escape. She loves openings, since she's my friend. That was her dream, if you remember, to escape her dull routine and experience the world of the living, and they all end up trapped in the storage room, not knowing how to get out. So Saki and Nefar start playing and entertaining themselves to pass the time. Thoth fainted after handling 10 mummies at once and tries to force open the iron door. After that, he wakes up, and they find themselves on a ship at sea, so he goes back to sleep again, as if nothing happened. But the leader of the group can't sleep because the sound of his animal, Shaky, whose name is Croc, is too loud. So he says, come on, man, I want to sleep, for God's sake, your father. Then he looks beside him and finds Nefar is snoring and eating raisins with angels? Fatot Saida asks, a princess who snores but sings. He replies to him saying, no, not just that, but let me help you. No, that's my habit, Tofsi Pasha, all night, and she's making me miserable. I'm done. It's Tofsi, not a princess. I just block her right away. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to die from a joke, like one day I'll just drop dead from a joke myself. After a while with the friends, the ship finally arrives in London. So the group gets off at the port, and Nefar is surprised by the place and the technology that's there. Sylvester has plans to see a play with his uncle, but Thoth and the group won't leave him alone since they haven't returned the ring, so they hide in his car trunk. The play is about the pharaohs, so the director mistakes them for actors due to their costumes and puts them on stage. In my years in theater, I've never seen a director who can't recognize his own cast. After a while, the friends return to the story, still confused. Then they see the play's hero giving the Hathor ring to the heroine. At that moment, Fanifer comes in to sing because she thinks that singing is their language. She starts saying that the ring belongs to her, Najm, and that she's the princess. The hero doesn't understand anything, so he improvises and sings along with her. Everyone is moved by Nafar's voice and words, standing to applaud her. Only Sylvester knows she's the princess. He noticed the mark I switched, which matches the one on the ring. Nafar and her friends escape, and Nafar enjoys the applause, and that they liked her, but they focus on their mission and go to try to start a car in the garage. And of course, they start messing around, and in the end, they can't do it. So a person who saw them in the play comes and offers them a ride so they get in because they saw Sylvester coming, and Sylvester's coming after them. Right as his friends start filming, his mother calls, making the camera shut off. If the last thing in your house is something, What's in the car is that the driver is E.D. He tells Nafar, "Your singing is special, my daughter. I have a song for you, something like, 'I see sadness in your eyes.'" Nafar, Abu al-Sahaba's daughter, had been waiting for these words. She says, "I'll think about it." They all exit the car, and she seems to enjoy being among the living. She then tells Thoth she'll stay, and Thoth, he wanted to tear his clothes as Abu al-Sahaba, wishing to return to his resurrection work and reclaim what's his, rather than be killed and blinded by Sekhem. He admits in a conversation, likened to a phoenix, that he was tired of the bird's dominance over Thoth's house, and hadn't chosen it willingly. Surprisingly, Thoth and Nafar hug him, and Thoth says, "Thanks, Usta. I've memorized it for the single, thank God, and Sekhem is almost there." The ring he has isn't even the original, and it's fake. So at that moment, they start wondering where the real ring is. But then it starts to rain. So they all go to Ed's house to spend the night with him. And in the morning, with the sun shining and their friends around, they start thinking about what they're going to do. The main point is that Ed's friends are amazed by his house and its technology. They can handle it. They're pharaohs who built the pyramids, so managing some devices isn't hard. Some even claim they worked with aliens. Anyway, the main thing is Ed and his friends. Then he asks someone else to sing, and she agrees, so they go to the studio to record. At night, Thoth can't sleep because of Nefer's snoring, so he goes out to the balcony with Kark, his pet, and Thoth starts talking about Nafar, noticing the man's interest in the girl. Salfalsa asks his assistants what could be more valuable than the pharaonic princess's ring, the princess herself, and he decides that he will kidnap the princess. Another guy from the friends gives the visa to someone and tells her, "Go get yourself some clothes instead of what you're wearing now." Thoth is crossing the street, so a car comes and hits him. Honestly, what's this guy's story? But it just scratched his pants, so he fell. At that moment, the friend with all her attitude says, "I won't be surprised on the wedding day." So, should I believe you, Nafar? Believe you about what? I mean, we're talking about a really tough guy, just so you know. At that moment, the whole mall is buzzing. In the end, they settle on a certain suit and go to the tailor, and it's Edda. They released Nafar's song, and it was liked by millions. Then they shoot a music video for the song, and Tahoot is supporting her. The song becomes a trend, and almost the whole world listens to it, and the song spreads everywhere, like wildfire. Afterward, Nafar stands on the balcony with Tahoot, discussing how comfortable she feels in this world, but notices Tahoot seems a bit sad. She tells him, "Don't worry, Astahi. The ending will bring you home." Walking with Croc on the balcony, Croc says Tahoot is different and suggests marriage. Suddenly, Sylvester interrupts, drugs, and kidnaps her. Croc makes a noise, bringing Tahoot, who sees Nafar unconscious and being taken. Tahout chases the car but falls on his face, unable to catch up. Later, he notices Sylvester's logo on the car, prompting him to act. He chooses to save Nafar alone to avoid endangering his younger brother. Nafar wakes from anesthesia, tied up before Sylvester. He tells her she is his most precious possession and warns her not to think for herself. "You got famous from the song, so just wait until people learn the truth about you." Thoth arrives at the museum, gets past the guards, likely by pretending to be a parent, while Sylvester watches him on security cameras and smiles. Thoth spots Nafar and tries to rescue her, but falls into the trap and is locked up with her. Meanwhile, Sekhem is upset, so Ed helps by taking him to the museum, where Sekhem enters. He sprays the cameras, finds Sood, and sneaks to Thoth and Nafar. They're tied with rope, about 200 of them drugged and mumbling. Sekhem then takes the ring and manages to help them escape. After that, he wakes them up, and then Sekhem drives the bus with them so they can get away. And after a long chase, Moomin and Lowy truly appreciate each other. And thankfully, they escape by getting rid of Sylvester's car. Thank God for Thoth and Nafar. After that, they stand and talk with each other for a bit, and it becomes clear that they've both fallen for each other. While they're standing there, they see an ad for Egypt Air, and they decide to travel to Egypt to return to their world and finish everything. But the next ad is about Nefer's song, and Nafar gets emotional because it was her dream. She wanted to become a famous singer, but she decides to leave her dream and go with Thoth, because the girl loved him, not his brother. I mean, she really loved him, didn't she? What do you mean? She loved him as her husband and cared for his brother as a friend or little brother. Then they flew to Egypt. At that time, Eldonia, Thoth was telling Nafar why he retired. And he left the races because, after the accident that happened at the beginning of the movie, he became afraid of racing and speed. In short, he developed a phobia of racing. Nafar lightens the mood and encourages him. Meanwhile, 60, 70, and Sylvester are behind them on the same plane. They arrive in Egypt and near Nefer's tomb, the same one they originally left. Wait, what? Is this really Egypt? Where are the bridges? Egypt isn't just a desert, right? We're in the dynastic era, Walid. That's how it appears. They enter the tomb, safely reach the afterlife, and have the ring with them, thank God. And Thoth separates from Nafar. But it's clear that both of them are attached to each other and basically upset. But is that all, my friend? Is that it? Sylvester's in Abraham, reaches the afterlife, and asks his assistants what's more valuable than the pharaoh's daughter? The pharaoh himself. The pharaoh readies the city's defenses against Sylvester. But Sylvester has already infiltrated the palace and resists capture. And here, Nafar comes and defends her father, but Sylvester's very strong and they can't defeat him. Then Thoth arrives and helps them, and it's Thoth. He overcame his fear of the chariots, got into a chariot, and chased after Sylvester because he kidnapped the pharaoh. After a long chase, Thoth manages to catch up to him, and they start fighting. At that moment, he says to him, "Hey, listen to me. Either we live greatly or we die." Then he attacks Sylvester. Who saw it? The hero's shoe stayed on as he clung to a rock. Nafar helped him, and they climbed up and hugged. Thoth then proposed to Nafar, and impressed by Thoth's actions, the pharaoh proudly married him to his daughter. The wedding ceremony takes place, and everyone lives in peace and harmony. And they have little pharaohs and princesses. That's it, my friends. The story's over. Don't forget your friends. We should thank our brother Meadow, or the one who follows the channel. He's almost the only one, but hopefully not the only one. That's it.